someone flicks me a back body. So it's another one, yeah. It's a full strong, yeah. Oh, it's another one, yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to iBoxingHub. If you're new to this channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe. I go by the name of BIYENGE, featuring yours truly, Tre. What's good?
Yes, cuz big up to you and big up to the whole of the community. Big up to the iBoxingHub family. The work throughout the week has been tremendous. And before we get into the show properly, cuz I'm wearing my D-Rock because I have to. But here's a word from our sponsors, D-Rock Clothing. Yes, people. That's iBoxingHub in association with D-Rock. So people, take advantage of the discount code, which is iBoxingHub24, and you get 40% off everything. So if you liked what my cousin was doing during the shadow boxing, if you like the hoodie, or, it's hot right now, just head over to the link in the description and just browse. You might find a few tees that you love. But big up to Mr. Neutral straight in the chat, man. He's going straight in. Greetings. Big up to the iBoxingHub family and to BIYENGE and Tremendous Tre. Big up to you, my brother. Thank you so much for, just giving us this opportunity to give you a show right now. But cuz the title of the show right now is, look, legacy fight or mismatch. So, cuz you obviously wanted to come up with this format of the show. So we're going to do a little bit of a debate, something different. So I'm going to ask you firstly, before we get into it properly, is this a legacy fight or is this a mismatch?
I would have to say it's a bit of both, really. A bit of both. Mismatch, because obviously Crawford is jumping up, is it 2 weights?
Going up weights.
Going up weights, and he's never fought at 168 before. I mean, look, just going by his last performance, when he fought at 154, it was all right, but it wasn't like, oh yes, it was a decent win. He just about won, but now he's going to the Lions Den. It's just like, ooh, I don't know. I mean, can he shock the world? Some would say it's a slim chance, but then again, in terms of legacy, it's like, look, if he beats Canelo, no one can't say nothing to Crawford. Nobody. If he loses to Canelo, well, what did you expect? Do you know what I mean? So if anything, the pressure is on Canelo. The pressure is on Canelo, because if Canelo was to lose to Crawford, then it's like, oh my God, what happened? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely, cuz. And, I thought, before doing the show that this would have been great because, it's something different. It's more of a debate. And you're saying it's a bit of both. Originally, I was thinking that this fight is more of a mismatch because, you got the smaller man moving up in weight. Just based on the dynamics of, boxing and weight classes and everything else, you would think that the bigger man in Canelo is going to obviously have the advantage. But Crawford, we have to obviously give Terence Crawford his props, man, because this fight is going to be the first time, I believe, that you got two of the pound for pounds, fighting each other for undisputed championship as well. And for me, Canelo, he's obviously undefeated at this weight class as well, cuz, man. So it's undefeated versus undefeated, really, man. So this is his first elite fighter that Crawford's going to fight. Just in my opinion, cuz honestly.
Do you know what? Yes, I hear you. It's undefeated in terms of like he's never lost at super middleweight. But when we're talking about boxing records, the Canelo's taken what, 2 L's, right?
Yeah.
And Crawford is undefeated. It's never, he doesn't know what an L feels like. He's never taken a loss before.
Not
So it's
yet.
just like when we talk about pound for pound, where do you rank Canelo and where do you rank Crawford? Is Crawford higher than Canelo? Or is Canelo higher than Crawford?
That's why the pound for pound thing, cuz it gets a bit confusing, because Crawford, obviously on paper, he's been undisputed twice in 2 weight classes. Obviously, Canelo's obviously done it at super middleweight. So when you're kind of talking about that dynamics, you would obviously say Crawford has to be higher in the list, man. But Canelo, if you look at his CV, what he's been able to do in the sport, he's the golden goose right now in terms of, the big money fights are coming from him. So pound for pounds, is it going to be based on commercial value, or is pound for pound going to be based on accomplishments? Because obviously accomplishments, you're talking about Usyk, you're talking about Crawford, you're talking about a new way. So it's a bit different, man. So Mr. Neutral is obviously saying, for me, it's legacy. The stats favor it, and mismatch. There's a fine line between power and skill. 100% agree with the classy one. The Jim Watt of the new boxing media. Yeah, I agree with him, cuz, man. It's there is a fine line, but at the same time, you can, argue against from both aspects.
Of course. I mean, look again. We talk about who's pound for pound, but then the question that I like to ask people is look at both of their resumes. They fought decent opponents, obviously at different weights. They say skills pays the bills. So who is the better boxer?
Better boxer, cuz I can't even lie. Canelo, I do like what he's been able to do in his career, because he's had 60 odd fights and he's had his fair losses. Against Mayweather, Bivol. You can say they're elite fighters, man. So each time he's taken those losses, you've seen him come back, learn something from those losses, and he's been able to up his game. And I've seen, a high level, boxing skill with Canelo in terms of him moving the head, the foot movement. He's getting older now, so the performances we're not seeing a lot because he's naturally getting older. So the foot movement, he's being more patient with his shots. But in terms of skill, obviously you're gonna have to put Crawford there, man, because he's able to switch stances. Southpaw, orthodox. That's a very tricky fighter to fight as well, man. So the fact that he's bringing that to the table is maybe something that Canelo hasn't faced before in his career, but he's faced fighters that will potentially come with the game plan of a Crawford. But the only difference is Crawford's going to come with, the switching stances, and that is going to be an adjustment in itself, man. Just in my opinion.
Okay. So how do you see Canelo beating Crawford?
I could see a potential respectable stoppage, man. If he steps it down, he gets to those late rounds, but it's a respectable one to the point where, regardless of a win, lose, or draw for Crawford, I think he's in a great position. He's still going to be a Hall of Famer. He's still going to be remembered for the feats that he's been able to do. But for me, weight classes does play a big factor in this, and I think Canelo will know what to do when it gets quite dirty, man. He'll use his weight. He'll show him that he's the heavier guy on the night. He's more used to the weight as well. So maybe because you can look at the transition as well. If Crawford moved up to 160, we saw him how he kind of managed there. Then he did this fight. Then I'll probably have a better judgment, man. But he's jumping up 2 weight classes, man. So this is different as well. And Mr. Neutral, he's saying another conundrum is that Canelo is the heavy favorite, yet Crawford is higher in the pound for pound rankings. Cause this is just, You know, the body shots might take their toll over the course of the fight. 100% agree with you, Mr. Neutral. It will. It will. And I think for the smaller man adding on the weight, the body shots are gonna, take its toll, man. We saw potentially that Madrimov, I'm not saying he's a power puncher or he's someone strong, but he had enough to kind of keep Crawford guessing, but maybe because that's his boxing ability as well, the way he was landing the shots is a younger fighter, more sharper fighter, maybe hungrier. So it's going to be a tricky one, cuz man. But initially, I would say it is a mismatch if you're looking at the dynamics of boxing. But legacies can be made, and these are the fights that make legacies. So I love it. I love it regardless. I'm going to tune in. So it's obviously going to be on Netflix. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, cuz man. I can't even lie, man.
So how do you see Crawford beating Canelo?
A respectable one, I would say he wins on points, split decision. I would say he does enough in the beginning of the fight. Mid rounds, obviously Canelo does his thing, which I do expect. But if Crawford could step up the gears like what he did against I would say Sean Porter, where Mac was saying to him, look, you got to, down the cards or whatever. He just stepped up in that round. Then, we could see a switch in the later rounds. And, I could see him maybe winning the fight, 8-4. But it just depends, cuz, man. It just depends. It just depends how Crawford comes in on the night. I want to see how he handles the first few, big shots, especially at that heavier weight. How's he going to react? Because, that fight against Spence, I really wanted to see as a Spence fan, I wanted to see how Spence, handled them shots of Crawford. And when he landed those shots, those first few, I was like, whoa, this is a completely different fight. You know what I mean? So we need to see what happens, man, in the earlier rounds, mid rounds, if he's even can get there. What do you think?
With Canelo, he's a bit of a slow starter, isn't it? So I think the earlier rounds is I'll probably give it to Crawford. I think Crawford's gonna be light on his feet. He's gonna come out with the quick jabs. I think he might draw into trading with Canelo, but I think he'll lose in trading with Canelo because Canelo just hits hard. It's gonna be it's definitely going to distance, definitely. But my only concern is that Crawford fought about what he fought last year, August. Do you know what I mean? So it comes down to inactivity because it's been proven so many times. Like, look, when you've been when you're in activity, you tend to have a warm up fight. You fight somebody who you could potentially beat. But obviously, he's fighting Canelo, and it's just like, should he lose, what would the excuse be? Don't get me wrong, you've been beaten by the better man, but do you feel that inactivity is going to be a major key? Because I want Crawford to win. Reason why I want Crawford to win, I just want him just to make history. You know what I'm saying? Just to prove it's the Crawford. We're living in a Crawford era. Do you know what I mean? They've blocked him so many times. Look what he's done to Errol Spence. Sorry, I know you're avoiding that, but do you know what I mean? Easy work. And he was still in gear one. And fighting Canelo is just like, okay, he might have got up to gear 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, he would have to. He would have to. Yeah, he would have to, cuz man. He would have to, be in the motorway and be doing 100 miles per hour, cuz man. For this fight, man, he's gonna have to step it up. Because against Spence, you did say it, man. I don't think we expected Spence to maybe unlock that side that you're talking about, but it just didn't happen, man. Unfortunately for Spence, but maybe this Canelo fight, we're going to see something different, man. So we need to see it, like you said.
Most definitely. I mean, look, Canelo has requested for the ring to be small, and I know why he wants the ring to be small because unfortunately, he struggles with people who move too much. I mean, look, the last opponent he fought, it was a boring fight, but I saw where Canelo was struggling. And if Crawford could do the same, well, not necessarily the same, but do better, then there's a big chance that Crawford wins. But then again, listen, I know a lot of people are comparing Triple G, saying that look, Triple G couldn't knock down Canelo here, but Crawford might have that strength, that man strength, like come out from someone might knock down Canelo.
You're right, man, and
Might catch him on the chin, bang bang.
You saw it from
or
the press conference, man. You saw it from the press conference, cause like you look at the way Crawford's just looking at Canelo. He's just like, yeah, I'm not scared, man, and he got right in his face as well, man. Which it just made it juicy because I thought
he walked him down. Yeah, he walked Canelo down. Not just that, right? What's his name? Ryder. When he fought Canelo, he got knocked. I think he got knocked down twice and he got back up here. But he even said like, I don't see anything special. Like, you know, obviously, he's a big name, but he's not how people make it feel. Like he's not. Don't get me wrong. Look, Canelo is pound for pound one of the best, right? But I think everyone has their time. You know, everyone. Even though I know Crawford is old. Crawford's older than Canelo, right? Crawford's what, 37, 38? Canelo's what, 35, 36?
Yeah. He's pushing the majors right now, man. So he's older. But you know what the reverse is, cuz Crawford's a lot older. He's older by like, let's say 3 years. But Canelo's had, double the amount of fights probably in the ring. So it's like boxing experience goes with Canelo, but life experience kind of goes with Crawford. 7 kids, I think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. But he's, more responsibilities. So his life's a little bit different to Canelo's, which is why he doesn't want to take any tune-up fights, man. Maybe he's looking at the age as well. I don't want to waste time because tune-up fights, you don't know what's going to happen, so you might as well take the fight when it's hot. And Turkey just said, look, I want it done now. So the time is now, cuz, man. So he's obviously got the power to do these things. So, you've got to big up His Excellency for once again, producing the goods for, an event like this, cuz, man. It's major, man.
His team Crawford. Turkey Al-Sheikh, his team Crawford, he wants Crawford to win because should Crawford win, then there's a rematch. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, I can't wait. It's on the 13th of September on Netflix. I believe in Vegas, right?
Yes, cuz, man, it's going to be massive. It's going to be massive, cuz, man. Like, I just can't wait, man. Honestly, initially, when the fight was being, rumored, I was thinking to myself, do I want to see this fight, man? I know what Canelo's going to do. But then the build-up and, the press conference kind of picked up because I don't know if you noticed, but Crawford was a bit on the humble one, in the first few. But then, something just triggered and, he became that WWE villain, what we kind of talk about in WWE and stuff like that. Yeah. That persona came out and it was good to see, man. It was good to see. I don't want, respect. Obviously the fighters do respect each other, but I wouldn't want them to, have that level of respect now. Just, be yourselves, promote the fight because we want to see action at the end of the day. And this is obviously part of the build up and Crawford, he brings that energy, man. So I think it's going to be a Canelo crowd. We have to confirm that, man, at the night. Because, there's the Mexicans are going to come, support Canelo. But Crawford relishes being in those situations, man. So it should be an interesting one.
Wow. I mean, some say that the press conference that we watched on Sunday was staged. Do you reckon it was staged?
Nah, man. They don't need to stage that, man. They don't need to stage that. We can kind of just see how it was building up where it turned into a genuine respect at the beginning, but then certain things were said and, accomplishments were being, put down. That's when Crawford kind of saw the crowd booing him and he turned into a villain, man. So I think he played the role right. And it just brings that bit of excitement, man, because look at Crawford there. The way Crawford's smiling there, it's like, it's time now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like he's caught the lottery. It's like I've been wanting this fight for years and it's finally here. Let's go. So I'm excited for that reason, cuz, man. I think, Crawford's not going to be afraid. It is initially a mismatch, but it's a good mismatch to have because Crawford, for his accomplishments, for everything that he's been able to do in the sport. You know, 2-weight undisputed. He deserves to have this, fight with Canelo if he wants it. If he thinks he can do it, let him do it because he deserves it. It doesn't matter what I think or what you think. It's down to what the fighter thinks, man. And if he thinks he could do it, why stop a man, from proving us wrong, man? So let's see what he can produce on the night, man. But because the favorite, man, the favorite for the fight, you already know. I call him El Presidente, of boxing right now. He's the pound for pound. You would have to say he's the top dog, just because commercially, he's the one everyone wants to fight, man. So let's see what happens, man. But it should be a great.
I'm going for you know me, man. I always back the underdog, so I'm going for the underdog. I'm going for the underdog to shock the world. I'm going for the underdog to beat Canelo. This will be his third loss. I'm going for Crawford to just make history and be like, listen, I told you, So I'm going for that.
Yeah, because
mad.
Because we're WWE fans, man. So His Excellency, if you do, come across this pod one day or whatever, just have that WWE title, man. Just speak to someone there. Let him just have that opportunity to, pick that up as well as the rest of the belts, man. So that will be a full-on undisputed. And Crawford, as you know, he's a big, wrestling fan, man. So it'll be good to see what he produces on the night, cuz, man, I'm just excited for him. Honestly, he deserves it. He deserves it.
Yeah. Also, on the undercard, I believe we've got Baby Miller fighting the other Baby Miller.
Where?
Yeah.
What, Anderson,
So
yeah?
they're gonna be fighting on the undercard. That should be an interesting fight because
Wow.
at the moment as we speak, they've both got they've both got L's on their record.
Yeah.
But who wants it more? Who do you got winning? I've got a big Baby Miller winning.
Yeah, I think Big Baby's gonna son his little brother, man. I think, man. That's what I think. I think it's gonna be like an older brother sonning his younger brother, man. Because the way it's not kind of overlooking him, but I think Big Baby Miller sees him as a a younger brother. He advises him, mentors him in certain aspects, and yeah, it'll be good to see what happens, man. But we need to see something from Anderson as well, man. We need to see, obviously, against Bacoli, our brother, man. He absolutely destroyed him, man. So he's had his comebacks, but we needed to see him just build up that confidence, man. So it'll be interesting to see who the real Big Baby is.
There's another fight.
Yes, our guys.
There's another fight where I'm a bit confused. I suppose he's playing it safe. Joseph Parker and Dave Allen.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Yeah,
is that confirmed, or is it in
they're in talks. I don't know if it's been confirmed 100% yet because we were hearing that at first it was Parker and Gisora, a trilogy, but I don't think the crowd, so I don't think the fans are really interested in that fight. But
it's over that 50th.
But then having Dave Allen and Joseph Parker, I find that very strange because, like, no disrespect to Dave Allen, I rate him as in, like, listen, that's a big money fight. Do you know what I mean? That's a life-changing opportunity. But at the same time, it's like Parker is world level and he's fighting someone in domestic level. Let's just say hypothetically, let's just say if Allen was to beat Parker, oh my gosh. Do you know what I mean? He's basically taking his position.
That's what I'm saying. That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. That's why there's no such thing in the heavyweight division as tune-ups, man. When people are in the top 10 or lingering in the top 15 in certain rankings, I think anything goes, man. It's risky. You already seen what happens in certain fights, man. Like Wardley, he had to produce the punch from the gods, the boxing gods, man, because our brother, it was a tough fight, man. That Wardley, he dug deep, man. So I think anything can happen in this division, cuz, man. So let's see what happens, man. But
So all right, so what you're basically saying, I understand, anything can happen in the heavyweight division, but you're basically saying that Dave Allen has got a chance of beating Joseph Parker.
Puncher's chance, yeah, man. You never know, cuz on the night, cuz I'm saying it from a perspective of, let's say he's just having one of those mornings, he's woke up, he's just, he's on it. He's been training hard, he's motivated, he's manifested like this is my ticket to, having a world title shot finally, man. So if he knows, if he beats Joseph Parker, then, he skips the queue and he's right back in the mix, man. So in terms of motivation, I'm not saying in terms of skill wise and talent wise, Joseph Parker's the favorite, man. But we've seen in boxing, the heavy underdog sometimes wins the fight as well, man. You just never know on the night.
No,
Just never know.
listen. I understand that. I said from the get go, I said like, look, I would like to see Dave Allen with, I don't know, Joe Joyce or Derek Chisora, but obviously him having the opportunity to fight
Parker.
Parker,
Yeah.
it's a great, it's good. Like I said, Parker's a former world champion. Dave Allen, obviously he's fought Fisher, he's beating Fisher, but again, like I would say there's levels to this, and him fighting Parker it's gonna well, there ain't gonna be no upset. We already know it's going one way, but it depends on how Parker stops the fight.
Yeah, no, it's true. He is the favorite. Like he is the favorite. That's why it would be interesting what the odds would be on Dave Allen to do it. It would absolutely be crazy. But look, on paper, the former world champion, the interim champion would be the favorite to do it, man. But who knows? Could this be, one of those situations where they're overlooking Dave Allen because, the rest of the guys are sort of occupied in their situation, and you just never know, cuz man. Or they just want to use this opportunity to keep, Parker active because, everyone seems like they occupied. He has to wait in the queue a bit longer because of the undisputed showdown, which isn't his fault. Like that's why it's a tough one because, would you want him waiting or would you want him to kind of just stay active?
Parker.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've always said this. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Now, we've seen in the past. Yeah, you can wait, but then your inactivity plays a key factor in your performance. But then you can challenge people, but then again, you're still at risk. Remember when Dylan White fought Povetkin?
Oh, that was and that happened behind closed doors, man. That was
Yeah.
That was
And again, when you had Joe Joyce and Zhang.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a tricky one unless it's guaranteed that listen, you're going to fight next, as in like I don't know. I suppose I would say keep busy, have a 10 rounder, just fight whoever, just keep busy. Do you know what I mean? Keep busy, take that pay cut, and just fight whoever. Just stay busy. But
that's why
again,
they've Dave Allen, because that's why I think they're maybe talking to Dave Allen because they're kind of looking at the ranking and they're probably thinking, yeah, this could be a fun fight, that we expect to win.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But hey, look, like I said, good on him. I'm also hearing that Turkey had a shake once, either Eubank Jr. or Shiraz to fight Canelo. That's if Canelo beats Crawford. And again, if Eubank and Shiraz, overcome their opponents, and possibility that one of them could be fighting Canelo. But my question is to you: who would you prefer Canelo to fight, Shiraz or Eubank, and why?
Because, man, you already know, man. I'm gonna go for my boy Eubank. Just that whole build-up energy. With senior, I think the build-up will be truly tremendous. But that's just being in that imaginative world. But from a boxing sense, I think it would be better for Eubank to have that fight because commercially, I think Eubank can bring a Canelo to a Wembley Stadium, for a big undisputed showdown, for all the belts. You could imagine how the build-up's going to be. I think it will be big. I'm not saying Shiraz doesn't have that commercial appeal, but there's a reason why Eubank hasn't fought Shiraz. Nothing to do with scared. I think he's just kind of thinking, I need him to kind of build up his profile a little bit more. A few fights like the Belangas that's coming up, and once he gets a few of those, then have that fight with him, man. But as in right now, you got to go for Eubank Junior. I think it would make better sense, and I think after a fight like that, I think Turkey has to bless him, man. Turkey, he put everything on the line on that last fight. He's not fought since. Obviously, they are planning on different bits, but he put everything on the line. It was personal, and it was obviously good to see both fathers in the ring as well. So, yeah, I would love to see that fight. And I think Senior as well would absolutely love that fight for his son, because I think he wants his son to fight Canelo at that weight of 168. I think naturally, right now, at the age that he is, I think he's a 168 fighter, man. Now, middleweight, he's squeezing down, man, at the moment, man. So,
Yeah.
commercially and for boxing, I would say Eubank Jr. But I could see why other people would say Shiraz. But in terms of profile and bringing someone like Canelo to the UK, you got to go for Junior in this situation. That's just my personal opinion, cuz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Conor Benn, he's actually in a good position with the WBC, because they were saying, he gets to fight the winner out of Pacquiao and Marius Barrios.
Yeah, you know what, cuz, and look, I was to say my 2 cents on that as well. It's you kind of look at the dynamics, and you think he's got himself in this position, which is great, for him, and I think he will relish the opportunity. The destroyer, he's done his part for boxing, and produced a great fight with Eubank. But you kind of looking at the rankings. He skipped quite a few people ahead of him to even get that that title shot, cuz, man. So that is why kind of you look at boxing and it's kind of a bit messed up from that dynamics. But commercially, for Barrios, unfortunately, you would look at that and think, yeah, it would make more commercial sense for me to fight a Conor Benn as opposed to the rest of the other guys in the ranking, because money wise, it doesn't make sense. But that fight, it would make sense. So, yeah, that's just where boxing is right now. But I think it would be a good one. And if the president wants to see it next, I would watch it. And El Azteca, which I do think he should beat Pacquiao. I think, he should beat Pacquiao. I do see the next fight being a Conor Benn versus El Azteca. Mario Barrios, the WBC welterweight champion, man. So, yeah, just wanted to kind of just put it out there, man.
Okay, well,
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, because just before we wrap up, actually, just a quick one, cuz, man, because we obviously have to talk about it, man. And I know you're not a big fan of him, man, but look, cuz, it's happening. We've got Jake Paul versus Chavez, Junior. I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on, the fight.
Easy
money.
Yeah, easy. Jake Paul wins. He's paid him off already, man. So it's easy.
Oh, I swear down, one of them ones. You don't think the spirits of Senior, man, being there on the night, he just needs to produce the goods for boxing.
He's blessed both of them already, man. Don't worry, man. This is gonna be real nice. Live camera action, man. Don't worry, man. So I'm gonna knock you out in this round. Yeah, cool.
I love it, cuz, man. And a quick one as well. Wilder is back, man. Are we going to see this energy, cuz? Just let me know your thoughts.
Listen, I've said this from the get-go, yeah. Look, I'm not a boxer. Yes, I train, for fitness, whatnot. But these guys are former world heavyweight champions. And there's nothing wrong with having a tune-up fight. But then you're having a tune-up fight with somebody who's not even ranked, I don't know, if he's not even top 20. And it's just like, dude, what is going on, Like, do you know what? If Wilder came back and fought someone like, I don't know, let's say Baby Mill, I'd be like, yeah. Win or lose, I'd be like, do you know what? He gave it his all. But this one here, I don't know his opponent. I don't know. I didn't even know his opponent was a boxer.
And cuz you know what's mad? It's pay-per-view, cuz man. So you gotta pay to tune
Yeah, bro.
into Bomb Squad. You gotta pay. That's it.
But
No,
think about it, right? Think this is how mad it is, right? You've got Jake Paul on the zone. You got Wilder on what's it? Amazon Prime.
no, it's on BLK.
Be okay. So then it's like everyone's more tuned into the Jake Paul fight. Do you know what I mean? Everyone
Naturally.
like it, which is mad. Just to think of it, a few years ago, yeah, people didn't care about Jake Paul, more about Wilder, yeah, knockout artist. But
Yeah.
they was a turn. Now it's just like, yeah,
Yeah, Jake Paul,
that
man,
that
he's
fight's the fight's gone under the radar, and yeah. But yeah, we'll see. We'll know from Sunday. You know the results.
yeah, no, you're 100% you're right, cuz man, I think, that's where boxing's at right now.
Mm.
And yeah, look, I'll tune in, I'll watch both. And we obviously will do the roundup over the weekend as well. We're going to keep up with the USA takeover, of course. And just a quick shout out, cuz man, obviously you tuned in to the show. It was with Blair the Flair, who is now with Napa. With he's obviously the boxing manager for them, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, man. But Blair the Flair, big up to him, man. The energy he brings, cuz man, is different level, man. So yeah, just wanted to give him a quick shout out, man. Of course, and it was a good show. Um, just a quick one anyway, cuz just wanted just to say thank you to everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to a tremendous, midweek roundup, legacy fight or mismatch. You obviously heard the views, and guys, just get involved in the comments as well. Just after the chat, if you think it's a legacy fight, let us know. If you think it's a mismatch, just let us know, man. But cuz, I'm obviously going to hand it over to you, Mr. Sports Entertainment. Cuz, God bless you, and I
Yeah, man.
appreciate you
You
doing
too, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your continuous support. Thank you, and thank you. Have a lovely, productive week. And Sunday we shall catch up. Peace and love.
It's another band. All the and cars now, whichever get up. I start my card with a sweet one, please. Someone flips me a bag.